Good morning. My name is Danielle Beach, and I'm speaking to you from Beach Oswald Immigration Law. I have been practicing immigration law for about 30 years, and in that time I've seen many changes. This year we've had some exciting changes from the Biden administration. I want to talk about four main changes, though there are many, many other changes, and I will talk about those in other YouTubes. So the first change is the public charge change. That was huge and was very exciting to lawyers and clients, because what that did is Biden vacated the public charge that had come into effect for CIS. And what had happened was a brand new form called a 944 form, which was about 20 pages long, now said that they could look into your parents, your children, any money earned, bankruptcy, credit checks, everything, Medicaid, all the benefits you'd received. And basically it was going to mean that people who normally would have gotten a green card would not have been eligible for a green card at all. So from one day to the next, when that happened and that a rule was vacated, the public charge disappeared, the form disappeared. And the 485, which is the green card form, also changed and now only had the two old requirements of public charge, which have always existed for a long time, and not all the new requirements. So that makes a lot of people eligible for green cards that wouldn't be with a public charge. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're going to an embassy or trying to get a green card to come into this country, you're not going to be subject to public charge rules and things like requiring and seeing if you have health insurance and things like that. Because yes, those have not changed. This is a change with immigration, citizenship for people who are here, not a change in the State Department public charge rules. So I want to make that distinction. The second thing that has changed is the lifting of the Muslim ban and the refugee cap. So first of all, the Muslim ban, that said that visas should not make a prejudicial decision in denying people due to this ban, because the ban was based on religion rather than being based on other criteria that were objective criteria. The refugee cap is a separate thing. So the refugee cap meant that people coming and fleeing persecution from other countries were having to stay at the borders, trying to get into Italy, trying to get into other countries. And Europe was very upset because America only allowed about 2,000 people out of 65,000 cap. Trump reduced it to 15,000, and way fewer people than that were allowed to come in. So the cap has been raised again back to 62,500, which is what it was. So that means that people don't have to be here to get asylum. They can actually be back home in their countries or have fled and request refugee status with the benefits that refugee status gives to children and also to spouses and other benefits that asylees get also. So they get many of the same benefits, but they would be allowed to come here. In other words, if they can't get here to ask for asylum, they would still be able to be protected and ask for refugee status. So that's a big change. And then, of course, the change that everybody's very excited about, the citizenship change. So the citizenship test became suddenly way more difficult. So whereas before the goal was to make as many people citizens as possible, the goal suddenly became to try to prevent people who wanted to become citizens from becoming citizens. So the way you do that is you make the tests harder. And the test became a different test, which was harder, and required you to pass way more questions. So, and there were 20 questions asked instead of 10, and you had to pass 12. Now you only have to pass the old test of 2008. It goes back to 2008, and that's 6 questions out of 10 have to be correct. And there's 100 questions on the test that everybody gets given with the answers. But that is a big change because some people have a hard time even memorizing those questions and learning those questions. And maybe the ordinary American might not even know the answers to some of those questions. So that was a big deal. Other big deals are the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, which I will talk about in a separate video, and also other DACA changes, which I will again talk about in a separate video, changes to who can be deported and who cannot be deported, and categories of people who are protected from deportation. Another change is people who are being issued and put into removal proceedings. Immigration was doing this when the people went to interviews. That's become much more limited as to who they can put in deportation or not. I'm going to do a whole separate presentation on prosecutorial discretion, which is another area. So you can see there are many, many new changes proposed and already effective changes. So we're very excited to help you with these. And if you have any kinds of cases involving immigration that are related to any of the things I've talked about, as I said, we've been doing this for 30 years. And myself, I have been doing it for 30 years. And I have a staff who is very competent in this and would be delighted to help you get your path to citizenship. Thank you for listening to this video.